From lifted trucks to super slammed cars, this is what your suspension says about you. If your car has stock suspension, you probably have a pretty comfortable ride, or at least it does what you need it to do from the factory. If you're doing some easier off-roading, but you don't need to do anything too crazy, then maybe the stock 4Runner suspension is enough for you. Or maybe you occasionally go drive your car through the back roads at legal speeds, and your stock Miata suspension handles the corners well enough for you. A good suspension setup can be pretty pricey, so I understand wanting to keep it stock. Cut springs. Speaking of pricey, cutting your springs is not pricey at all. I mean, maybe putting a bunch of rocks in your trunk would be cheaper, but cutting the springs is still very cheap. After you cut your springs, the car might look pretty good, but only for about an hour before it sags and becomes undrivable. If you cut your car's springs, you don't really give a shit about the car and you're just having fun.
Lifted.
Hell yeah, brother. Lifting your car or truck is cool, as long as you're doing it for a good reason. I think the only good reason to lift is for off-roading, not just for going to the store and back. Because when your car is higher up, so is your center of gravity. If you don't actually need the extra ground clearance, you're just trading your vehicle's handling for looks. If you have a lifted car for a good reason, then you're probably the type to go on awesome adventures. If you lifted your car for looks, then your wife's name might be Frank.
Hydraulics.
Hydraulics are fucking cool. I think bouncing cars are the most ridiculous, but also the most badass suspension setups that you can do. It's just so impractical for anything except listening to music. Putting hydraulics on your car became popular in the 60s because people wanted good-looking low cars, but they'd get harassed by the police. So they decided to add hydraulics to lift the car up and avoid tickets. But I suppose at some point it got taken a step further, and these cars jump now. So yeah, I don't really know how the fuck that happened. If you're running hydraulics, you're either a bit older and into the classic stuff, or you're just kind of funny.
Lowering spring.
Lowering springs can be the less expensive option for making your car just look lower, but still ride nicely. The slightly stiffer springs help you around the corners and feel a lot better than stock springs. I would recommend swapping out your stock shocks when you install lowering springs. If you have lowering springs, you probably just don't feel like spending coilover money. I think lowering springs are respectable, but I'd definitely go with coilovers if you can. Coilovers are a great option because with high quality ones, you can adjust so many things on them. People don't just get coilovers to adjust the ride height. You can adjust things like the camber, caster, toe, preload, damping, corner weight, anti-roll, and sometimes other things. They're very amazing. Sometimes coilovers can make the ride a bit too bumpy for some people, but they make cornering and everything else just that much better. Coilovers can be used for almost any driving setup. Track, drag, rally, precision, hill climb, drifting, and basically anything else. But make sure to get good ones. You're better off getting nice lowering springs than cheap coilovers. Reasonable coilovers can start at around $800. That even is still kind of cheap for coilovers. You're going to want to set aside about $1,500 for a nice set of coilovers. Bilstein is a great brand. BC Racing is pretty great too, but something like the $300 Max Speeding Rods coilovers are far from ideal. Coilovers are kind of an all or nothing type of deal, so in my opinion, if you run good coilovers on your car, you're pretty set on making this thing handle like a go-kart. If you're running cheap coilovers, then all I can do for you is pray. Intermission. I'll be ranking your cars in an upcoming video, so join the Discord server and submit a photo of your car. Link in the description. Also like and sub if you haven't yet. Bags. Bags are for the fitment boys. They sound fucking awesome when you air them out. And they always look good when you're parked. They can make for a pretty smooth ride too, but they're just not quite as good as coilovers for handling. They're also super expensive, so if you're running bags, then you might be kind of rich. Also, bags aren't the easiest to install, so you either have the capital to pay for the labor, or you have a brain that works. Slammed, stanced, or static cars are interesting to me. I think excessive camber is pretty stupid, because to me it doesn't look great, and it wears out your tires very fast. But I know the people who are driving these cars are having a lot of fun, so I envy that at least. If your car is stanced, you're just having fun, don't really care how your car performs as long as it looks good. Static cars have no suspension. They look super funny to me because they're always bouncing around on the tires. They're just like slammed or stanced cars. You're only doing it for the fun of it. Also, these cars have super stretched tires for some reason. Sway bars! Most cars have sway bars from the factory, but you can buy sport ones that stiffen up your car a lot. They don't change the up and down suspension, just your car's body roll. Sporty sway bars are a game changer for taking corners and canyon carving. If you've installed sway bars on your car, then you absolutely know what you're doing. Nice job. But some people like to detach their sway bar end links when they're off-roading, because then each wheel can move more freely. If you're rock crawling without your sway bar connected, then your car can have amazing travel. I wouldn't suggest attaching your sway bar end links unless you're actually going off-roading. That much body roll would look ridiculous on the street. If you run no sway bars off-roading, that tells me that your car can go almost anywhere.
Wheel spacers.
Wheel spacers are more of a fitment thing than suspension, but I still think they're worth mentioning. People use wheel spacers when they want their wheels to poke out a bit more, but they don't want to spend money on a new set of wide wheels. Wheel spacers are a bit sketchy, but as long as you get hub-centric ones with a little lip on the bore, then you're good. If you run wheel spacers, you either have perfect fitment or you're a little bit poor. Broken suspension. It's not necessarily something you intentionally run, but you will know if you see someone who's driving a car with broken suspension. If their shocks are blown, they're always bouncing around and the car is handling pretty poorly. Or if your car makes a bunch of clunking noises over bumps and turns, it could be the ball joints, control arms, or tie rods, basically anything down there. It's pretty easy to tell when your suspension isn't working well. Regardless of what your suspension setup is, if it's broken, you're most likely not very well off financially, or maybe you're just weird or just a procrastinator. Suspension is one of the most important aspects of your car, so you should always make sure everything is functioning correctly. Squatted truck. Squatting a truck is like the armoire of closeted, the closeted of closeted, a whole wardrobe of closeted. Not only does it look really strange, but how the fuck do you see? Like your truck is literally 45 degrees towards the sky, and you're not even hauling shit. I don't consider squatting a truck a suspension setup. I feel like it's just a weird lifestyle. I don't know. All that angle just to drive to Cabela's and back, I don't see the point. If your truck is squatted, you're very closeted, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. And you do not have squatter's rights. You gotta get rid of that shit. Electromagnetic. Electromagnetic suspension is very far from common. I just think it's interesting, so I want to talk about it. In 2004, Bose released a prototype of the Lexus LS400 with electromagnetic suspension. Yes, Bose, like the headphones, dabbles in suspension. This suspension was super smooth, unbelievably smooth, but the drawback was the price and weight, so it never really made it into production. Eventually, they used the tech to make semi-truck seat suspension though, so that's pretty awesome. If you have electromagnetic suspension, that tells me that you're lying, or maybe you're a trucker, I don't know.